All Hallows Eve, the evening your nightmares come to life, all the creatures of the night come out to play. It's time to pay tribute to this terrifying month, so join us as we celebrate the sinister season. This is the Venom month of horrors.
Hello and welcome back to Cinematic Venom, and to continue with the theme of the Venom month of horrors, we are going to be covering what we think of the entire Halloween franchise, the definitive series of this month. So we're just going to get right into it. So 1978, John Carpenter's Halloween. Masterpiece.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think a lot of it, obviously I reviewed it last year and I think some of the acting hasn't aged well.
I think it's the best horror film ever made.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's just got that real, genuine feel that today's horror films struggle to capture. Because it feels so close to home. And so, like...
Pun intended. He's coming home.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, like, the sequence where she runs across the street at the end from Michael, that's still terrifying.
Yeah.
And who did the musical score? Was that John Williams? It wasn't John Williams, was it?
I think John Carpenter.
Was it? Oh, did he do the score as well? Of course he did. I'll cut this. No, I'm joking. I think Halloween, like I say, I mean, I think it's a great film. I've heard Black Christmas is better. I've not, because that's what...
seen it.
Because this was intended to be a sequel. Halloween was supposed to be Black Christmas too.
But basically, the first time you see Michael Myers, it scars you. It's so memorable, and that's one of the shameful things about this series, that now Michael standing there means nothing. They still use it, but in the first film, it means everything when he's looking up at her, because it's such mystery, such intrigue, and such... It's just bizarre. Like, it's got a sense of bizarre mystery to it.
I think Donald Pleasance is better in the sequels. I think in this one he's still good, but I think his acting is very, very wooden, which some people blamed on the dialogue. I don't agree. I think the dialogue is great.
I actually disagree. I think it's superb.
What I love about Donald Pleasance is, like, on the commentary, John Carpenter said, like, towards the end, or when he, like, looks down at the balcony and Michael's vanished. There will be spoilers in this, but everyone, you know, if you don't see Halloween, I don't know why you'd be watching this. When he looks over the balcony and Michael's gone, apparently Donald Pleasance said to John Carpenter, "Do you want me to act like, holy shit, he's gone, or I knew he would be gone?" And John Carpenter didn't reveal which one it is, but based on his reaction, I'm guessing it's I knew he'd be gone. That's the impression I got. And stuff like that. Jamie Lee Curtis, for a film debut, it was solid. And
likeable.
Yeah, very likeable, actually. It wasn't, I mean, people say she played like the generic virgin, but I didn't really get that. They don't really hammer it home. It's not forced.
I think because Jamie Lee Curtis looked so innocent back then, you buy her
Was
more.
she really 17? I think she might have been a bit older.
Like
maybe 18, 19 something. But I think the only time her acting drops is when she discovers the bodies, but that is quite a difficult thing to do. So yeah, I mean, Halloween, 1978... classic. Well, I know it wasn't the first like slasher film, but it set the standards for, like, if it wasn't for Halloween, there wouldn't be Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street.
One of the best endings in horror history.
Yes,
even though it means nothing now, but
yeah, cliffhangers
are masterfully
that
shot.
Like the cliffhanger is so generic now, but back then it was so new.
And then when it shows the whole neighborhood at the end, like,
oh yeah, like, where is he?
Brilliant.
The music is terrific.
Yeah.
That Halloween theme, still one of the best themes ever. Yeah, great film. And then we got in 1981 Halloween 2,
which I don't like, and I never will, because it winds
just
me
straight
up.
to the point.
This gets less annoying as the sequels go on, because you get used to the fact they keep changing Michael. Halloween 2 is the direct sequel on the same night, and Michael's walking through windows. Like,
okay, yeah.
In the first one, he's getting needles in him and stuff, but
it slows him down.
But he still felt like a human, like, to a degree. There was, like, mystery, like, is he human, is he not? This, he's not a human. That's it.
He walks through glass, he gets shot, and then literally 2 minutes later, he's dead. No, he isn't.
I love how he just flinches when he walks through the glass. It's like, just a
that
flinch.
happened. I hate the one night idea.
Yeah, because it's the longest night ever.
Yeah, the sun never fucking rises.
It's like, oh, right, so
I
the
mean,
end of Halloween, it's about 11 p.m.
The thing is, I mean...
The end of Halloween 2, it's
Yeah.
what, 5 a.m.?
I guess you could say it's set in real time, but like the first film, it must have hit nightfall an hour in, 45 minutes in, or something, and it never ends. I think Donald Pleasance gets better in this one. Jamie Lee Curtis, this must have been one of the easiest paychecks ever. Right, Jamie, you've got to lie in a bed.
But it seems like by this point they'd already missed the point because
they did the Sam Haines stuff, didn't they? They
Yeah.
introduced a reason for his madness.
made her his sister, and they made.
I don't mind the sister thing.
Very primarily a slasher film.
What I don't like, a lot of people think, like, I know in any other franchise I've noticed, people will say, oh, we need a reason for this, we need a reason for this. But with Halloween specifically, no, we don't want a reason.
That's
I've
why
always found that weird.
It offends me so much. It's not the worst slasher film ever, but it's directly following. And it's like, already you're messing it up. I expect you to mess it up by part 5.
I hate the Sam Haines stuff. Like, you had a reason. She's his sister. You got that. That's all you need. That's all you need. But then they're like, no, it's Sam Hain. It's the night where people kill, which we'll get onto the next fucking film. But that wasn't necessary. I think Donald Pleasance is great. Jamie Lee Curtis is great.
It had some brutal kills because they were told to like up the violence.
Yeah, there's a part where like a woman is like tied to a bed and blood is like running through a tube, and I'm like, how did Michael get the time to do it? Michael's fucking practicing surgery.
Or where he shoves a needle in someone's head.
And
he smashes someone directly on the head.
There's a syringe in an eyeball, and the guy still sat perfectly still. So did Michael just tiptoe and then hold still, mate? Like so. But I do think. I personally think Halloween 2 is okay. I think it's the epitome of a mediocre film. And I think it has some really scary stuff. When Michael's chasing her and she rushes to the lift, I think that's really intense and really scary.
I like the bit where Michael lifts the nurse up with a knife.
That is epic.
Yeah, it misses the point a bit too much.
Some people say, why would... Because there's a part where, like, Laurie Strode checks the phone and it's dead. And then she... immediately knows that Michael's around and she leaves her hospital room. But like, you get that gut feeling sometimes, so I can let that go. There is a part that's so unintentionally funny. It's when they're setting off the gas in the the big third act, and Donald Pleasance is like,
"Oh yeah,
go on, get out!" and then it cuts away, and then it goes back to him, and it's completely different. It's like,
"Get now,
get now." I don't get it. It's so the editing is so weird, and then
he shoots Michael in the eyes. He's got no eyes, so you can't see any more Mike in this series.
And then, I don't know if it's just me, but it looks like, when he's on fire, it looks like he's wearing oven mittens. I don't know. I'll have to show the clip here. To me, it looks like that. I hate that the Sandman was the theme. I mean, they still use the Michael Myers theme, but...
But strangely, it really works in H2O.
Yeah, that's weird. So that was Halloween...
in H2O.
Halloween 2, which I think's okay. Would you say it sucks?
Oh, it's not the worst ever, but it's very mediocre.
Right, then we got Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. I won't talk too much about this one because I don't know when you're going to see this video, when you're going to see that, but I will be reviewing Halloween 3. And
what a bore!
We literally watched it.
The main problem.
At the time of filming this, we watched it today, and a lot of people like this, and that's great. It's got a big cult following, but I hate the argument that you only dislike it because Michael isn't in it. Which, first of all, that is a valid complaint. It's like making a James Bond film without 007. It doesn't make sense. But no, I'll ignore that. And again, I haven't written the review at the time we filmed this, but I plan to not acknowledge the Michael Myers stuff as much. But it's just so boring.
It's literally people walking around. It's walking around, men in suits killing people. None
of the plot makes sense.
The score is terrible.
It's just we're planning a sketch with like a composer. It's so electronic.
It's so discoordinated, whatever that word is.
The characters are bland and boring. I mean, the actors are trying. Tom Atkins is trying. He really is. He's fucking a woman about a third his age. He's fucking his granddaughter in this because why not? Cockring. The old guy literally says he has no reason to be evil. It's not scary. Like the big scare of the film is a kid's mask with snakes coming out of it. It's not scary. There's an annoying jingle.
The effects are pretty bad.
Yes. I mean, it does have 2 good kills. There's one where like a robot alien thing, whatever they are, douses himself with petrol, and then his car blows up, and there's another one where they rip his head off. But that doesn't make sense, because later on, Tom Atkins is fighting a robot, and he's got his hands on his head. Just do that! You did it earlier! But it's the power of the moustache or some shit. And then the fucking ending. Because, apparently John Carpenter was meant to do, like, standalone horror stories, each, like, I guess, like Goosebumps or Are You Afraid of the Dark, and gave us this bollocks.
One of the worst endings in movie history, I think.
But the thing is...
Shocking.
It still suck, but it didn't need to be a Halloween film. Just, why make 2 Michael Myers films and then let's do this? Just make it a different movie. Fucking awful.
They were even making money off the title in 1970, whatever it was.
Yeah, it's just, it's so bad. And Jamie Lee Curtis has a cameo. The movie is a movie within the movie of Halloween. Michael Myers is on like a TV twice, actually, the film is.
Just to get him in.
Fucking awful. In 1988, I believe we got, Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. I think this is actually the best sequel. And one of the best sequels ever, actually. I love it.
This is where the quality comes back. It's an excellent film.
There are problems right at the start that piss me off. Okay, so, obviously Michael Myers blew up at the end of part 2.
Yeah.
And in this, he's in a coma. That's fine. I can buy that. But Donald Pleasance, who is in the midst of this explosion, he's walking around with a cane, a few bruises, right? That's one.
It's a miracle.
That's one problem. But then, when Michael Myers is seemingly walking around, everyone's like, that's not possible. No human being would be able... Fucking Sam Loomis is walking around fine! And then they're like, that's impossible. Even if he was conscious, his muscles would be totally useless. And Loomis is like, you're talking about him as if he was a man. What the fuck are you? Ellie Cornell is really likeable. I actually prefer her to Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, maybe.
She's absolutely lovely. Jamie Lloyd is played by Danielle Harris, who I met, by the way.
Which is one of the greatest child performances ever.
Jesus Christ. I think she gets better in the next one, but she is phenomenal. Like,
so much sympathy. She commands way more sympathy than Laurie Strode, and that's a real achievement.
Yeah, she was 8 or 9 in this in real life, and so good. And when I met her, I asked her, didn't Michael Myers scare you as a kid? She goes, absolutely not. And I'm like, it's a film that did have the balls to put a child in jeopardy, but it wasn't like Pet Sematary 2, where it's like fucking just, that's its only angle. The third act of Michael getting inside the house is petrifying.
I don't know how they changed his mask. The mask is a little worse.
Yeah, the mask did change.
It's the beginning of all the mask changes.
The guy who looks like Kevin Bacon, he like cheats on Ellie Cornell's character, and he was a bit of a dick, but then he kind of amends himself later on.
Michael crushes his head like a...
Yeah, this is where literally Michael becomes a Terminator, because he literally, he puts his thumb through his face, and then later on,
shoves a shotgun through a girl and pins her to the wall.
And no one in the house hears it! No one in the house! It's a small enclosed house, and he's just... And I always wondered, because she just had sex, I don't know if it's implied, did he shove it up her vagina? Because it looks like, I've always wondered that. And then, basically, they get away from the school and everything, and Michael appears, they're driving off on a pickup truck, loads of big guys, and then all of a sudden, Michael's on it! What? So, are we to believe he was like clinging onto the bottom of the truck the whole time?
Yeah, I mean, if this was Halloween 2... I'd be a little bit annoyed, but because I suppose
it's kind of a reboot.
I suppose the fact that Halloween 2 exists and they start to go away from what he was in number 1, makes this a little more excusable that they make him he's basically supernatural Terminator.
And and then he takes off the people in the back of the truck, which no one in the truck realizes. But then he reaches in his hand, he literally rips a guy's neck off
with his bare hands. I like the bit where Rachel drives him over and all that.
Yeah, I mean, there is a part where Michael slams his own face on the windshield. Hello! He's like on the roof. Hello! Hello! She does the cliche line, though. Die, you son of a bitch! Like,
it is annoying how Jamie goes up to Michael after all he's put her through and holds his hand.
Isn't that part of his power he has over her?
No, that doesn't come in till 5.
But it's implied here. Because he possesses her at the end of this.
Yeah, you don't know that. You're supposed to
She's holding the knife at the end.
Yeah, he passed on the she went mental. He passed on the curse and he's dead.
Okay,
You're
well,
supposed to think he's dead at the end of this.
Donald Pleasance at the end.
No!
No!
You're supposed to think the curse has been passed on. The let's get into Halloween 5. The telepathic stuff didn't come into
Okay,
Halloween 5.
well, part 4, fucking brilliant. Yeah, underrated gem. I think it's an absolutely great film. Moving on. Right, this is where the controversy starts, and we might disagree a little bit here, but part 5, I think, is just as good as 4. If not, okay, I prefer it, but I think 4's a better film.
I think it's worse, but I still like Halloween 5. I have kind of a soft spot for it. But it starts to make no sense.
Production started very quickly, so it's not an excuse, because Saw came out with like 7 films each year.
And they changed the director. Why? The director had done such an amazing job, Dwight H. Little on Halloween 4, and they're like, let's replace him with this guy who doesn't really respect the series and changes it up.
Yeah, part 5, Jamie Lloyd's acting, Danielle Harris, is even better. She plays a mute, so she has to play like a lot of trauma, and it's insanely good. I hold Danielle Harris as the greatest child actor I've ever seen.
But why is she mute?
Because she was traumatized. She killed her fucking stepmom.
Yeah.
See, a lot of people have said, "Why is she mute?" But I see it that she was forced to kill her mum. Which, by the way, in this one, they say that she survived, but we never see her.
So that Rachel would still see the little shit.
But it's just...
You tried to kill my mum. You didn't kill her, so I'll still visit you.
Yeah, but so I buy that. She's traumatized, basically. New character, basically, Ellie Cornell dies within the first 20 minutes. I like that. It wasn't... You didn't see it coming. You expected her to last to the end like the heroine usually does. I like that. Anyone can die. The suspense, by the way, in the first act, there's loads of suspense. Like Rachel, Ellie Cornell, is walking around the house, and you see Michael walking in the background, doesn't attack her. There's a lot of suspense straight off the bat. New character, Tina. I don't know the actress's name, do you?
No.
She's a little annoying.
I have the unpopular opinion where I think she's great. And the reason I think she's great is she's a mate of Rachel. And Rachel dies, and she still sticks around and looks after Jamie and sacrifices her life for her. And everyone's like, well, Tina's such a bitch. Tina's got no reason to stick around. I've
always found her death weird, because Michael basically stabs her in the chest, but you see his knife bend. It's not even like they're hiding, it's just plastic.
Do you like Tina?
She's annoying, but I get your point.
I like how she's cheerful.
She's likeable, it's just... I think it's the first time we see her, she's like, ja-la-la.
And I think it's because they kill off Ellie Cornell in favour of her.
Now, there's a part where basically Jamie Lloyd is befriending this little kid who he looks like Paul Rudd. He really does. This little kid, and they go to a party, and Michael is there, and he's in a car, and he chases them, and people are like, how can they outrun a car? They're like 8. But I saw it as Michael toying with them. Am I stretching it here?
Now we're going to get to...
The 6th one, yeah, but...
No, the tier.
Okay, yeah, we'll get to that in a sec. And then, yeah, so that whole section of them at the party, Michael chases them, I think that's really intense. And this, in my opinion, this film shows the relationship with Dr. Loomis and Michael better than any other version. Because there's so many scenes, like after Michael crashes and everyone saves Jamie, Dr. Loomis comes out of the shadows and he's like, Michael, like he convinced him to come back to the old house where it all began kind of thing. I can help you end the rage. And then there's a part on the stairway where he says she can end the rage.
End the rage by dying.
Like Sam tries to
kill her. End the rage.
Come and get her, you want her. But there's a part where like Dr. Loomis tries to convince him to give him his knife, and Michael looks like he's about to, and then he basically attacks Loomis, throws him against the window, but he doesn't kill him because Loomis is the only one who's ever been there for Michael. I like that.
People have said that Dr. Loomis becomes unlikable in this because he tries to sacrifice a little girl, and he scares the little girl many times.
For the sake of, I guess, I mean, I'll see that point, but like, you got to save the world, you got to do what you got to do, you know?
What, kill one little girl?
He didn't kill. He knows Michael better than anyone. He knew
and
Michael.
Also, he wasn't going to let her kill her anyway.
Yeah, he had his plans. Yeah, but.
So what's the point in... Hang on, you're saying that he wanted to end the rage, but he wasn't even going to let her die.
No, yeah, I'm not saying he was going to kill her. I was like luring him.
That's the only way to end the rage.
I don't know what his plan was.
His plan was drop a net on him and hit him with
that was stupid, by the way. Die! And then he's arrested. Michael Myers is arrested.
Die!
Fucking kill him.
Die.
I mean, I guess you can't really kill Michael, but...
Die.
The tier. I like the fact that Michael cried because, first of all, the tear happens about 15 minutes after the same scene with Loomis. So you've already got Michael becoming more human. I like that Michael was made more human. That's what everyone likes. Everyone likes the first one, where Michael's human and not supernatural. So this goes back to that. Obviously, he still does supernatural shit and survives machine guns.
So why don't you like Rob Zombie's Halloween? We'll get to that.
Because it's bollocks. But so
make him really human.
So he becomes vulnerable, and then again, because Loomis is the only one who's ever cared for him, he's about to kill Jamie Lloyd, and she says, "Uncle," and he stops, and then she asks to see his face. He takes it off. We do it's in the darkness. You can kind of see his face, and she goes, "You look just like me," and he cries, and I like that because again, someone cared. And then she goes to brush the tear, and he freaks out and he tries to stab a child. But
the tagline for this film was "Michael gets unmasked."
Was it really?
Fuck off.
Was it really?
Yeah, Michael unmasked.
Well, he gets unmasked in the first one.
Yeah, more than in this
Yeah.
one.
But did you like the crying, or you didn't care?
I don't know I don't know why it happens. I don't know why it happens.
You don't know what they were trying to get across.
Yeah, like because if they're gonna make him cry and then immediately snap out of it, what was the point?
I think it was meant to show who's becoming more vulnerable because the plans for the sixth one.
What, and then the rage takes over again?
No, because the plans for the sixth one was Michael's dad or brother were meant to be in it.
What if the director carried on? Or something?
Yeah. I mean, I also forgot to mention, the fifth one takes place straight after the fourth one. But like basically at the end of 4, Michael has a little water slide ride. He tries to kill this old man. He's like... and then collapses. And this old man keeps him in his house for a year. He's like, "Oh, the strange man who killed me." What? And then, oh, what a surprise, he wakes up a year later.
Yeah.
Michael's body clock is on point. He wakes up fucking Halloween Eve each year. Yeah, Michael being arrested, I think, is dumb. And then Jamie goes back in the police station. Michael's gone because there's a guy walking around with steel-toe boots. And again, it was meant to be his brother or dad.
Yeah, the director even said in interviews he had no idea who it was.
Yeah.
He wrote it in literally knowing no idea who it was.
And it was supposed to be his dad or brother, which I
like it more than what they've done in 6, the producer's cut.
I'm interested to see what they would have done. But 5, I would say, is the third best one.
I think it's okay.
Still
One of the main problems is that the direction style drastically changes from Halloween 4. It becomes really in your face and gritty and fast paced, which I don't like as much. But it's an okay film.
There's a lot of
gore.
There's a lot of subplots as well. So like, you think it's
you
wrapping up and then it keeps going.
Yeah.
But I like that.
It's very gory.
The little kid, by the way, Jamie Lloyd's mate, was really annoying. I wanted him to die.
I suppose.
Right, so then this is where the series kind of hits a downer. Right, Halloween 6. Actually, I don't even think it's called Halloween 6. Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers. Donald Pleasance's last one. He gave it his all. Donald Pleasance, bless him. This is the one where shit gets so out of hand. Danielle Harris was recast because I heard either she didn't like how her character died or she wanted more money.
No, it was I've seen interviews of her. It's because
the death.
Yeah, the death.
By the way, Jamie Lloyd's death is the only Michael Myers death that made me cringe. Basically, they're in a barn and he pushes her on a drill, right? And it goes a little bit in.
Yeah, it's really brutal.
Yeah, and then she asks for and he pushes her further in.
Yeah.
And she's still alive. So Michael says, "Right, fuck you." Flips the switch on and he watches his niece fucking get drilled to death.
Halloween 6 is one of the most entertaining car crash films of all time.
It's such a guilty... None of it makes sense.
It's a true car crash film.
When Jamie Lloyd's body is discovered, Donald Pleasance shows up and there's a symbol in the hay and he's like, "It's his mark."
How did he set it up with his
He's got a fucking ray gun, like...
design team?
You played the Batman games. There's someone who fucking leaves a mark on the rooftops. It's him. Michael's not had a mark in any of the other movies. Oh, it's his mark, that is.
No, it's the mark of the cult.
I will defend...
Not Michael's mark.
I will defend Paul Rudd. I heard even Paul Rudd hates his performance in this.
I think Paul Rudd's really good in it because they were trying to do a young Donald Pleasance sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, they ripped this off of Jason because they did this exact same character who was also called Tommy in part 6 of Friday the 13th. And
Paul Rudd has some good lines.
I think people hate it because he was miserable and emotionless. That's what he was supposed to be.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be this obsessed, depressed guy with this horrible past. I think the best scene is when he's trying to save his girlfriend or whatever he's like bashing a door down with a fire extinguisher and he looks over and he sees Michael for the first time they've come together in the entire movie and his acting is great. Like lets out a nervous laugh. It is just so subtle. I love it. It's the cult thing. So Michael's being controlled by a cult, basically.
So are we talking about the producer's cut or the theatrical here?
I've seen the theatrical cut.
You haven't seen the producer's cut?
No, is it bad? Is it good?
It's 100 times worse, and the fans of the series hold it in high regard.
So he's controlled by a cult, which, I might be wrong trying to understand the logic of the plot because it's so batshit insane. I think the cult told Michael to kill his sister back in 1963, and they keep bringing him back to life until he's wiped out every member of his family, I think. Yeah. And in this one, he's coming back for his foster family who adopted Laurie, and like the dad's a douchebag, so you're so dead. His death's really brutal. He gets electrocuted, his head blows up.
There are some good kills.
There are some interesting angles, like they paint Michael as a celebrity kind of thing, which people do. He teleports a lot in this. What? There's a part where they find it's in a public place, and a little girl's like, "Red, it's raining red," and there's a body wrapped in Christmas lights up a tree. What? Just see Michael Myers. Hold on, mate.
Tree.
Just what?
But I'll say about the theatrical and producer's cut. The theatrical is ridiculous, but it makes 100 times more sense.
What's the difference?
You know what I'm going to say. In the producer's cut, Michael fathers Jamie's child. And
It's still hinted in the... Oh, I know what you're going to say.
He's standing there with the cult during the ceremony when they make him father a child so they can kill it.
Yeah.
What is going on?
Aren't they going to raise the baby as a killer?
No, they're going to kill it. They're trying to kill it. Michael's trying to kill it, and he's standing there in the back, and they go... And Jamie looks at him and says, "The baby's yours." No, it's not even Jamie who does it. It's the girl in this. What's her name? I don't know. Carrie Strode or whatever. She looks at Michael. And goes, "The baby's yours. Isn't it, Michael?" And Michael stands like that. Like a stud. What the hell? They made Michael have a kid.
With his niece. But in the theatrical cut, it's still hinted at. Is it
where?
Because it's in the opening of the theatrical cut, she gives birth.
Oh, you can't have a baby, Michael.
And yeah, they constantly hint that it's his. So he still fucked his niece.
Oh, and the editing's all whack. And
so yeah, the cult stuff is stupid. The reveal of the guy who does it all is Loomis's mate. Is it really clarified who it is? It's just some Loomis's mate.
I'll tell you the end of the producer's cut.
Basically, the end of the director's cut was re-edited because basically it's
producer's cut.
They used the baby. No, the theatrical cut was edited as well.
You said directors.
Sorry, yeah, the theatrical cut. They used the baby to lure Michael into some lab, and then they batter him and use a syringe or whatever. And then Paul Rudd and his missus run out, and Donald Pleasance says, "I've got to stick behind," or whatever. And and then it cuts to Michael's mask on the floor, and he's gone. And they re-edited in a scream from Donald Pleasance to imply that he finally killed Loomis, which makes no sense. Michael would not kill Loomis. I get that he died in real life. You didn't need that.
Which already makes no sense, but I'll tell you the producer's cut ending. This is dead serious. They walk out into a corridor, and there's a line of stones on the floor. Michael walks towards the stones, and he can't walk over the stones. He freezes. Then, somehow, Loomis gets Michael off his feet, takes off Michael's mask, and it's that guy, Dr. Wynn. The guy with the white hair or whatever who kidnaps, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's him behind Michael's mask. Then, Loomis screams, that scream that's in theatrical cut, and then you see Michael walking out the doors in the distance in Wynn's costume. You fucking cunt!
So how long was he Michael for?
I don't know. How bad is that? And this is the producer's cut's raised in higher regard by fans of the series. You're mental.
Right, Halloween 6 is a mess. But it's a hilarious mess.
The theatrical cut's an entertaining mess. The producer's cut's a mess of shit.
If you people think like Superman 3 had too many subplots, if you think Batman v Superman had watch Halloween 6. It is a complete mess after the success of 6. Reboot! So, Halloween 7, which is H2O 20 years later, and it's a direct sequel to Halloween 2, which annoys me to an extent.
I actually think it's a sequel to 1. I don't think they even acknowledge 2. Oh no, they do because of the fire, yeah.
Yeah, but they openly say they never found his body. Well, they did.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I said 1.
Yeah, but they acknowledged burning to a crisp.
Do you like 1?
Yeah, because the guy says to Jamie Lee Curtis,
He burned,
You said he was burning. It annoys me because literally there's no reason to erase 4 through 6. So basically, if you haven't seen it, Jamie Lee Curtis.
There is.
No, well, we'll see. Look, Jamie Lee Curtis is this. She's moved to California and she's a teacher, or she might even be the principal of this boarding school, and she's changed. She's changed her identity, and she's been hiding from Michael for the past 20 years. You didn't need to reboot this because basically in Halloween 4, Jamie Lloyd is told her mother's on the run. Now, I know that sounds horrible to have Laurie dump her kid, but surely you dump your kid with a foster family and you go off to change your name. You think you're protecting your child.
Use what they said in 4.
So I just feel like, yeah, you could have made it a sequel.
Yeah.
He went through and killed her niece, and then realised Jamie Lee Curtis is alive. Go after her.
But my only question for that is, why would Laurie allow her daughter to get killed? Because she'd hear about the murders. My daughter's getting killed across the country. I'll just stay here because I'm too scared of Michael.
She dumped her once. No, but I mean that annoyed me because I thought 4 and 5 were so fantastic.
Yeah.
And I actually rewatched it because I remember loving this film so much, and I rewatched it. I still like it, but not as much. The guy who plays Michael is so wooden. There's a part where he's like stabbing someone, and it's so robotic. It's literally like it's not the new Michael in this is terrible.
Yeah, and the mask is atrocious.
They pay tribute to the original, which I like. It's not Superman Returns where they just rehash everything. It's clever tributes. Like
it's made in the style of the original.
Yeah, it's like there's a part where like the blonde woman is in class, looks up and sees Michael out the window, like Jamie Lee Curtis did. Stuff like that.
One of the best things about this film, it's a really masterful thing.
It goes back to the suspense. So it's like there's the death count is a lot lower than 4 through 6.
And because it mixes Scream with Halloween, that's masterful because I wouldn't place them together, and it does. It blends the two worlds really well. It makes a Scream type Halloween film.
I think the script is fantastic. There's a part where Jamie Lee Curtis bumps into a guy and he goes, "Oh, it's Halloween. We're all entitled to one scare." That was in the original. Stuff like that. It's believable dialogue. It's not forced. But like I said, I would have recast Michael. He sucked. Josh Hartnett's feature film debut, he's the best part of the film.
I think Jamie Lee Curtis is. But
they're both fantastic. Josh Hartnett gives a amazing performance. And yes, I know that Josh Hartnett played Josh Hartnett. Like there was a time he was in like The Faculty the same year as this, and then he did like 40 Days and 40 Nights, and he always played for a while the wisecracking teenager. But in this, it's like I don't know. I felt like he did a great job in his feature film debut. LL Cool J's in this just because
he's pretty bad.
He is, but there's a worse one in the next film. Yeah. The deaths, like I hated Michael. Like I think they reenact one of them. Yeah, her boyfriend gets lifted up like in Halloween 2 with the knife in the back. LL Cool J gets accidentally shot, somehow survives, and I think you pointed this out to me. Basically, at the end, Jamie Lee Curtis freaks out, goes, "Die!" Stabs him. He falls off a ledge. And then she goes to finish him off, and LL Cool J's like, "No, he's dead. Fucking got set on fire 20 years ago. Nah, he's dead."
No, I think the best part of the film is when they're running away from Michael. I think it's brilliant filmmaking, where they're running and they go behind it, and Michael's going through all the keys.
Yes, that's the best scene.
And then goes through and goes face to face.
Oh, and also, yeah, he goes through. They get behind the door just in case, and then Jamie Lee Curtis looks through the window, and they're face to face.
Brilliant.
Fucking amazing. There's one shot I hate. Michael's like, he lowers himself down. Oh, what's he doing up there?
Oh, yeah, behind.
He's doing a fucking handstand.
Don't show him lower. I mean, it's showing what Michael has to do all the shit he does in other films, but just don't show him lower.
The ending.
It's great. If you're going to end it.
I'll blame part 8, which we'll get to in a sec.
If you're going to end it, it's great.
Yeah, I'll blame part 8 for the shit that happens. But basically, yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis isn't convinced he's dead, which is very believable. There's actually a good part. She sends Josh Hartnett away.
I don't know what her plan is, though, when she steals the ambulance. Yeah. Just drive off with it.
Well, I just mentioned, there's a part literally before she sends Josh Hartnett away, and she breaks the controls into the school area because she knows she has to finish this, and it's so good. It is so good. And yeah, she steals the ambulance when he's in the body bag. She knows he's not dead. She takes like a cop's gun. She steals it, drives off. I'm guessing she was going to drive it in the ocean. Maybe.
What, with her in it?
No, like jump out the door, maybe. But
yeah.
The body bag starts to move. He gets out. She puts on the brake. He flies to the windshield, hangs on. They tumble down a hill. He gets trapped against a tree. He like reaches out.
That's a good performance by the guy.
Yeah, and then she cuts his head off, and that's the end of the film.
The weird thing about this film is that several times you can see Michael's eyes, sometimes several times you can't.
That's another, yeah.
Several times the mask is CGI, several times it isn't. It's like, why? Why is this mask messed up?
That's
so
one
much?
thing we didn't mention. His
Mask.
his eyeballs are back in 4, 5, 6, and 7.
When they want him to be, though.
Yeah.
There's terrible shots of his mask.
So I mean, I think I still prefer 4 and 5, but this has a lot of suspense, and it goes back to not just shock horror. There's no gore. Is there any gore? I mean, there's
really,
one where like a girl gets in a dumbwaiter and it traps her
when
leg.
it is, it's like the ice skate through the face of Joseph
Oh
Gordon-Levitt.
yeah. Oh yeah, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in here.
Film on debut.
It might be. At a very young age, he's in it for about 5 minutes.
So it's a mixture of modern and retro.
Yeah.
It works really well.
I hate the title.
Halloween.
It's got nothing to do with water. I know it's Halloween 20, but it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
You know what the original working title was?
What?
Halloween: The Revenge of Laurie Strode.
That sucks. She's not the fucking killer. Like, right, so then we get to the end, allegedly, of the original series, Halloween Part 8, Resurrection. Now, I originally remember this being a guilty pleasure. It is so dumb. So dumb. And then I rewatched it.
It's so bad.
I struggle to enjoy it, even for as shit it is.
So it's a good idea.
It has a good idea. Half of this film is found footage. So this predates Paranormal Activity. So I guess it's leeching off of...
It's kind of... the reality shows were just becoming popular at the time.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a cool idea to merge live action and found footage, but Michael Myers has vanished. He disappeared for 20 years, but people are like, 3 years have gone by, it's not going to come back now. It just doesn't make sense. And then they're like, you know what, let's go in his fucking house. Go in his fucking house. And Josh Hartnett, nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, that's really annoying.
I don't get it, because I've never read an interview where he turned it down. I've never heard...
And it makes no sense, because Michael said, right, I've got to kill my whole family. But him, he's
his
fine.
His nephew just... Because I don't think...
He's fine. Go, run.
I don't think Hartnett was even approached. So basically... Laurie Strode is in it at the beginning and she gets killed. I like the way she died. I don't get why she kissed him. That was weird.
Yeah. You can tell she didn't want to be there.
Yeah, they had to kill her off. It took them 8 films, but she had to die.
Yeah. Well, she didn't have to. They could have ended it with H2O.
Yeah, just don't even make this film. And there's no resurrection.
Give her a happy ending.
And this is the bit I need to bitch about. So to explain the decapitation... Basically, and this makes no sense, after he fell off the ledge, a paramedic went to check on Michael. He grabbed their throat, crushed their voice box, and then quickly changed their clothes. And I'm just like, yeah, Michael.
Change my boxes.
Just do the thing. Someone's like, what are you doing? Shh. Just changing his clothes. And what makes no sense about this is, first of all, no one fucking... His clothes just happened to fit him. And then secondly... A normal paramedic woke up in an ambulance, flies through a windshield and is fine, holds on to the front and is fine.
Tries to kill her when he's in the ambulance.
Yeah, tumbles down a hill, survives, gets crushed against a tree, survives, and doesn't go, hang on, hello. What? It does not make sense. This was literally an unnecessary film. Okay, so the basic setup is Busta Rhymes. Busta Rhymes is in a Michael Myers film.
A truly shocking performance.
Is a host of a reality show, and they're all going into Michael Myers' house. What is it? What's it called?
Dangertainment.
Dangertainment. Such a bad name. There's some young stars in this, actually. Thomas Ian Nicholas, who I've seen in a few things. He's in it, and Sean Patrick Thomas.
I'll tell you what, the lead girl is terrible.
I remember liking her. And when I rewatched it, she's fucking awful.
She's got no...
Yeah, she's...
They're going for Laurie Strode again, but...
Yeah, she's really... I like the blonde girl. She was fun.
Nothing.
The blonde girl was fine.
I like the idea of someone communicating, saying he's behind you through...
Yeah, it was like an update for technology and stuff. And the reality show, it doesn't make sense. Why would you go in his fucking house?
And there are a few funny Busta Rhymes moments, like... I'm going to be Michael Myers, like...
Yeah, there's a part where we see Michael Myers walking around, and then we're like, what the fuck? Because there's a Michael Myers behind him, and then Busta Rhymes is like...
What are you doing, scaring people?
I'm supposed to be... And you can't understand because of the mask. He's like, I'm supposed to be Michael Myers. And then he's literally touching him. He's like, get that through your head.
Yeah.
It is hilarious.
It makes Michael look like a fool.
Yeah, why doesn't Michael kill him? Why doesn't Michael
he has to not... And guess what Busta Rhymes also does? Performs karate on Michael Myers.
Kung Fu is... And it works! He get fucking machine guns, explode, all of that, no.
And he goes... and trick or treat. motherfucker.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
That's the greatest line in
I
Halloween.
reckon Busta Rhymes, when they were doing the contracts, went, I've got to be badass, I've got to say lines,
Yeah.
I've got to kick Michael.
Tyra Banks is in this as well, by the way. And I didn't realise her scene was dropped in the... I don't know if it was a theatrical cut. Like, the version I saw... The DVD I have, her death's in it. Oh, sorry, we see her body. I saw it online and...
I don't remember how she dies.
Oh, no, we don't actually see her, but like when the main character gets to... She ends up in the warehouse where the power station was and everything, and she's like dead, covered in blood and something. Yeah, so there's also a main guy watching at home, watching the streams on the computers. So yeah, half the film is the actual actors' footage recorded. They've got like GoPros on their heads and stuff. Cool idea. There is some creepy stuff. Like, I'll give them credit. There's a part where Thomas Ian Nicholas is like looking in a mirror, and he's like, "You can do this. You will get it back." And you don't expect it. Michael fucking dives through the mirror.
Yeah.
That made me shit myself.
Or when he knocks the girl's head down the stairs.
Yes, the blonde chick gets decapitated. Obviously, Michael shows up and everyone thinks it's Busta Rhymes because they caught him a minute earlier, and then he cuts their head off, and they're like. And also, everyone watching at home thinks it's part of the show. They're like, "Oh, that looks so fake."
No, that looks pretty real to me.
There's a red-headed girl who's like really intelligent, but yet her boyfriend treats her like shit. He's like,
and they have sex in the Myers house.
yes, and she gets chased in the basement. That's really creepy. It's the only film in the original series that give us an insight to his backstory, because they find like in the basement she finds a half-eaten mouse or rat.
So he lives on mice.
And then they find food around the house, like spices and stuff. They find there's like a high chair that's got chained up, but Busta Rhymes does say that he put stuff in there, so you can't tell. Which I want to believe the high chair was real, but the spices and shit wasn't.
I love how much the Myers house has changed since 1970.
Yeah, they fucking had 6 different variations.
It becomes the Monsters Mansion.
Busta Rhymes is hilariously bad. Like every time he's the best part of the film. Actually, that's a bad thing. It's just every time he gives a speech when Michael's like put on the stretcher. Michael Myers isn't a megabyte. What's he say? He's a...
Well, let him say it himself. No one can say it better than the master.
Michael Myers is not a soundbite, a spinoff, a tie-in, some kind of celebrity scandal. Michael Myers is a killer shark in baggy-ass overalls.
Killer shark and baggy-ass overalls. And then at the end, obviously, they fucking give him an autopsy. What? He fucking died 15 times. Let's cut him open. And then the woman's like, she touches his eyes open, and then never touched on.
The answer is bulldoze Michael, bulldoze his house.
Cut his head off for real.
Done.
Sure, that's the thing.
Done.
Fucking, you decapitated the wrong guy. Surely you'd be... Cut this one's head off.
Let's take him to a morgue.
In fact, like the end of H2O, they try to pass it off because it was the wrong guy, because he goes like this. And as if like he's feeling them up. Take it off, mate. And then in this one, basically at the start, Laurie has a chance to kill him and he does it again to trick her. How does he know the first guy did that? He wasn't there!
Oh, it's so lame. Lame.
Resurrection sucks.
Yeah.
None of it made sense. It had a few nice scares. The actors were trying. Busta Rhymes wasn't. But actually, I think he was having a blast. And then in 2007, we got Rob Zombie's Halloween.
You said you like Halloween 5 because it makes Michael more human. This movie is the king of making Michael more human.
Yeah. I mean, I don't hate this one. I think it's a shit remake. It ruins everything in the first.
It makes him more human, though.
There's a difference between more human and more backstory, though. Like, that's the thing.
Oh, yeah, good point. Yeah.
Like, first of all, Malcolm McDowell as Loomis. He's a great actor. I didn't like the casting. The kid who played Kid Michael, he was really good, actually. Yeah, I don't like the backstory because they
overdo it.
They pull... Yeah, that's... Literally, everything is thrown at this kid. He's picked on. His mum's a stripper. His dad picks on him. His sister picks on him. Literally, he fucking steps in dog shit. He walks out, there's a thunderstorm on him. It's every cliche, and it's just like, okay, we get it, Rob. Fucking stop it. Like, who's upset you?
The moral of this film is, if you're bullied,
you're gonna be a killer.
You grow 10 feet and get
jacked.
Yeah,
I mean, there is a scene where
you get jacked, so you become a serial killer.
There's a scene where he like kills his first ever kill. He like kills a bully with a stick. That's cool. I like that scene because he like kills him and then he realizes what he's done and he likes the power. And you know, it is true to an extent. Serial killers usually do have a shit upbringing, but it's just it wasn't needed. And I'm not saying you didn't need a backstory around the remake. is unnecessary. Like, I don't get the point in remaking something with 2 million sequels. Freddy remake, I liked, by the way. Pointless.
Yeah, it's okay.
Friday, there's no point.
Friday the 13th was a good remake though, because all it was.
I've not seen that one.
It's a Friday the 13th movie.
Yeah, but
basically. This isn't a Halloween movie.
Danielle Harris is back. You didn't like that?
No, because why recast her as a different character in?
This is not a sequel.
I know, but I don't want to see her in this.
And then you saw her as like 8-year-old Jamie, and then in this she's like, "Fuck me."
Yeah, I don't want to.
Tits out.
Yeah, I don't want to see her getting shanked.
The new Laurie is a bitch,
and also nothing like the original Laurie.
She's
talking about sex all the time.
She talks all slutty and everything. I mean,
Rob Zombie's biggest problem is his scripting. Every third word is about sex.
And apparently this was supposed to be
swearing.
This was supposed to be one film, if I understand correctly, and. They made him basically switch it into 2, and so he admitted he didn't want to make the second one, and that's why the second one's worse, but we'll go to that in a sec. But I mean, it was okay. As a remake, I think it sucks.
The second half's pretty good.
And it literally ends with...
Because it's Halloween.
It literally ends with not Jamie Lee Curtis, Laurie Strode shooting him, like, fucking close range in the forehead. I can't even remember how the second one starts with fucking 20 minutes.
But the thing is, Rob Zombie's trying to be really realistic, trying to be, this is the reasons and that. But Michael can survive gunshots to the face. He grows 10 feet tall whilst in prison.
Yeah.
How does he grow when he's in prison? How does he get jacked?
What do you think of the first one then?
It's not the worst film ever, but it's pretty bad. It's pretty shocking.
Is 3 worse? Yes.
Probably, yeah.
Is Resurrection worse?
At least, probably, because at least Rob Zombie's Halloween, the second half is basically the first film.
Yeah. Then we got Halloween 2. Again, at this point, I don't know if I'm going to review that one fully, but I consider it the worst sequel ever. So, the first 20 minutes, that's not an exaggeration, it is 20 minutes long, is the hospital sequence from Halloween 2. And it's
pretty good.
Yeah, that's the thing. You get really into it, and then Laurie wakes up, and you're like,
it goes to shit from there.
Margot Kidder has a cameo as the psychiatrist. It's so random. Oh, okay. Danielle Harris, at first, she becomes near dead, and then we don't actually see it. But then there is a nice sequence where her dad finds her body when she is dead, and there's like a real home video of Danielle Harris as a kid. I like that. Michael Myers spends most of the film walking around, no mask, hoodie, Gandalf beard. What? And then he has visions of his mum.
Do you know what the biggest problem with this film is? If you've seen Rob Zombie's future films, then this is basically Rob Zombie giving you a vision of what he wanted to do in other films, not Halloween. This film reminds me of Rob Zombie's future films, like Lords of Salem and stuff like that. Lords of Salem is basically Halloween 2, but not Halloween 2. He's basically experimenting because he doesn't want to do the film with these characters anymore. And he just puts...
It's just a mess.
His vision out. It's like Batman Returns. His vision completely.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with the character.
He has visions of his mum and a white horse for no reason. There's 3 alternate endings, and the ending I originally saw was Michael speaking.
Yeah.
Die! The thing is, in his first film, he grunts. Like, he's stabbing... and then, he speaks. So I was gobsmacked. I was like, what? And then there's another one where Laurie Strode gets possessed by his spirit or something and leaves, and then she gets sniped. And then I think there's another one
where she's in a mental home.
Where I think Michael gets sniped. I can't remember. There's 3 different endings. I don't know which one's the theatrical cut. And Malcolm McDowell in this is a cock. It's like he writes a book about Michael and becomes famous off of it. And he's this big egomaniacal diva. If I want your opinion, I'll beat it out of you.
When I want your opinion, I'll beat it out of you.
The only one who doesn't swear evilly in the first one goes around swearing and talking about sex in this one.
Oh, speaking of which, the dialogue. I am not joking. There's a car crash and the man says fuck. The whole script is fuck for about 2 minutes straight.
And
fuck!
He talks about fucking corpses, doesn't he?
Yeah, him and his mate are like, one guy calls him sick and because he's talking about fucking corpses, and then he joins in. It's like, yeah, let's fuck corpses.
And then Dr. Loomis becomes a character like that.
It's so bad. I mean, I feel bad for the actors because I feel like they were trying.
And the editing's terrible in this.
Oh, there's several sequences that look like a Rob Zombie music video. It's just high flashes and everything. You can't see what the fuck is going on.
It's a Rob Zombie sort of project of him showing off.
And Weird Al's in this. I've forgotten about that. I just remembered. Weird Al has a cameo. And he makes the Mike Myers joke. We know that Mike Myers exists, but you don't say it. It's like an unspoken rule. It cuts to a talk show with Weird Al on there, and they say, coming up next, a story about Michael Myers, and then Weird Al's like, Mike Myers, wasn't he like Austin Powers? No, fuck off! You don't.
No, I'm talking about the notorious serial killer who all of America would know.
And I love Weird Al, so I'm
Mike Myers? No. When I say Michael Myers, I don't mean Mike Myers.
Cut to Dr. Evil. No, Scott.
How about new?
I mean the serial killer who no one in America wouldn't know about. I hate these films where no one knows about Michael. Like all the sequels no one knows.
It's like in Jason Takes Manhattan. He fucking walks along the subway and they're
doing that as well. They say Jason won't come back. Yeah, it's just... Michael won't come back.
So, 10 films, most of which are good, and a new one's in the works, which has been up in the air, because originally they were remaking Halloween 3, which I don't know if that was going to be a remake of Halloween 4, without Rob Zombie. Then it was scrapped. Then they were bringing it back with Michael being on death row. That was canned.
That sounded so bad.
And then, apparently, they keep confirming it and then delaying it. It's coming out next year, I believe, and John Carpenter's a producer on it.
Wow,
and
it's going to be good. He's involved.
I think it's dubbed as a sequel, so I hope it's a sequel. I mean, I'm guessing it's a sequel to Resurrection, but I'd want it to be a sequel to 6 and ignore that shit. But then 6, you got to clean up the mess. Make it a sequel to 5. So we're gonna say, what would you have this movie be?
I've always said, every time I've ever been asked this, that they should have done a sequel to Halloween H2O with Josh Hartnett. It makes no sense that Michael allowed his only surviving member of his family
I'd be
to
interested, 'cause
live.
it's like, is it 15 years since?
Exactly.
So he could have gone into hiding now.
Do it, Josh Hartnett, the main character, and we've also never seen Michael chasing. We have when he's chasing Paul Rudd, but he's really chasing Cara, chasing a man, a male protagonist.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Michael chases Josh Hartnett. John, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Why does he let him live? It doesn't comprehend in my brain.
See,
He's
I'd say
he goes home, he gives up. In Halloween Resurrection, he just wants peace.
But how would you make it different to the other sequels where he's just chasing? So you can't, because they all tend to have like a twist in it or something.
Well, I think it's very different because he's chasing a guy.
Yeah, that's true.
Josh Hartnett, like a.
Would you bring back any other characters like
No,
Paul Rudd?
no, of course no, because I've got.
Oh, you erased part 6, but
I've got Josh Hartnett. Basically, the continuity is 1, 2, H2O.
what if?
And then...
I think it would be cool if in Saw 7, a bunch of past victims come back and bond together. I think that would be cool in Halloween. So if they got like the survivors, Paul Rudd, I'm trying to think who else fucking survived. Even the little girl in the first Halloween, she never died.
But I'll tell you the
Lindsay.
problem with that. They're doing that with Child's Play.
What?
That's
Oh
the
yeah.
exact plot of Child's Play. What were they doing with him on death row? Was
thing
that
is-
comedy?
See, Michael was in court. How do you plead? But
How do you take that mask off? Why don't we take it off?
die. But it's just, I don't know, because it's a sequel, so it has to be a reboot, and it's like a standalone film.
There's fan posters out there of Josh Hartnett Halloween 9. Because
It's not-
people obviously agree with me. Josh Hartnett.
Busta Rhymes.
Yeah, let's bring him back.
I'll bring back the chick from Resurrection. What was the guy who was talking to her and shit. I don't know what I'd do, because it's a sequel. I'd make it a reboot and just, I guess, you know how in Batman v Superman, Batman didn't get a reboot, he was just Batman. Like, no really backstory.
Yeah.
Do that. So
I think that's what they're doing.
yeah, so there's Michael Myers. Josh Hartnett could be the crazy one who warns everyone about it. I reckon they could bring back people. I reckon they should. Tommy Doyle could come back. Maybe by Paul Rudd. I know they'd erase 6, but Tommy Doyle's still in this timeline.
Yeah, he survived, didn't he?
Yeah, he's still in the timeline of the first 2 films, so he could come back. Bring back Lindsay from the first film.
There's not many survivors. This is why.
Hello, Cool J. Bring back Hello, Cool J.
No, he died.
No, he survived, didn't he?
Oh, yeah,
he got shot, but he came back.
You know you're in trouble when one of your only surviving members is LL Cool J.
I'm trying to think. Was there any like actors you'd like to see in a film? Can you see it someone and you're like Halloween?
Not really, because I've got my protagonist. I don't
Different
want another
timeline.
girl.
Would you put Danielle Harris in it?
No.
Okay.
I don't want to see her as anything other than Jamie. I don't want to see her having sex. I'm already
Who would
feeling
you cast
guilty
as Michael?
myself for finding her attractive.
Kane Hodder as Michael.
That'd be good. Swap him over.
Wait,
yeah,
has he ever
but
played Michael? He must have done. Was he
No,
Michael?
Jason.
I know he was Jason, but
No.
okay.
He should have though, but he's too jacked. I don't want Michael to be this jacked up freak anymore. He
Goes to the gym.
He was basically normal size in the first. I'd get a normal guy for that. I'd probably get an unknown. I don't know what girls I'd cast.
Tom Hardy. He's built, but he's not too built.
Yeah, but he'd never agree. Tom Hardy's one of Hollywood's most sought-after actors. You want to come back to this failed series which no one cares about?
Overall, right, let's end this. Right, so overall, Halloween's a great series-ish.
Just try and come up with something.
I can't, because it's a sequel, and I don't want to erase 4 through 6, but then you've got to clean up 6's mess. How do you come back from that? Michael kills the whole cult. Well, he did anyway, didn't he?
Yeah.
I would just make a standalone reboot with Josh Hartnett, so I guess it is technically a sequel. I don't know, this series is confusing. You got to clean up a lot of
You
mess.
agree with me, Josh Hartnett.
Yeah, you got.
Josh Hartnett's the only way you can go in this series. I don't get why the filmmakers don't consider it. No one's considered it.
There's so much mess you got to clean up, but
Josh Hartnett's not exactly an A-list actor.
10 films, 3 that suck. 3, 8, and 2,
and 5 sucks a little bit.
Fuck off. 6. Anyway, I hope you guys like this discussion. We'll do another one for Saw, unless you've seen the Saw one before this. I don't know the upload schedule. We're filming this in fucking August, mate. Anyway, I hope you guys are liking Venom Month of Horrors. See you next time. Die!
And everybody, tweet Josh Hartnett. Tell him to do no Halloween.
Or another 30 Days of Night. Not really, that sucked.